Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. Prepare yourself for an astounding tale, a tale of betrayal, a tale of darkness, of revenge, and of death. Now try to relax, sit back, dim the lights, lock your doors, and be sure not to lose your head as we discuss Tim Burton's 1999 Sleepy Hollow. First, let's get the adaptational differences part out of the way. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow was a short story from 1820 by American writer Washington Irving, written in a similar vein to a European folktale, with themes revolving around mankind and the supernatural forces that are unknown to us. It can also be described as a cautionary tale, urging one to not have superstitions guide your way through life, and also to not be a pompous dick with greedy intentions.
Well, the old goat can't take it with him, and when he cuts out, that's where I cut in.
Now, the 1999 film Sleepy Hollow takes only the themes and ideas from the short story and essentially changes everything. Characters are different, events are different, the plot and the horsemen are very different. In essence, everything was made to be spookier, moodier, and more mysterious than the source material. And with just a smattering of grim humor.
You have moved the body?
I did.
You must never move the body.
Why not?
Because.
Operate. She's dead.
You don't know because you were not there. It's all true.
Well, of course it is. I told you. Everyone told you.
Sleepy Hollow should kind of be considered the weird American cousin to the Hammer classic films of old. One need only look at such classics as Hammer's Frankenstein and Dracula to quickly spot that visually these films share quite a similar palette. I think it was in fact Sleepy Hollow that made me first realize as a kid that filmmakers can deliberately make things look bleaker and gloomier on purpose by desaturating most of the color. Oh, except for the color red, of course.
We are dealing with a madman.
I distinctly remember many people complaining about the blood, how fake it looked, how sickly and almost pinkishly neon it appeared, which is something entirely inspired by the Hammer films. Even during the title sequence of the movie, we can draw parallels to 1958's Dracula. So, yes, definitely a homage to classic British horror, shown within this modern, now classic, American Gothic horror. Hell, some of the actors in Sleepy Hollow are horror greats, in fact. Most notably Christopher Lee and Michael Gough. And even Johnny Depp started out with horror in Nightmare on Elm Street. And Christina Ricci has always been cast in spooky and spooky-adjacent roles.
Sweet oblivion! Open your arms!
Plus, this being a Tim Burton film, we get some great work from composer and ginger goth daddy geek Danny Elfman.
One of the nice things working with Tim is he never really talks in musical terms. He'll always talk in terms of how something makes him feel. Once I saw the footage and the surreal quality of the landscape, to me the landscape dictated so much, as often in Tim's films.
Our tale of darkness begins, set in 1799, which is not the turn of the millennium, despite what Ichabod claims.
The millennium is almost upon us.
I believe the word you're looking for is century, where Ichabod Crane, a constable, not an asshole schoolteacher, is sent to investigate the goings-on at the settlement of Sleepy Hollow.
3 persons have been murdered there, all within a fortnight.
Ichabod is portrayed as an investigative skeptic, using science and due process to solve mysteries.
Is kind of stoic and likes to think of himself as a sort of a manly man. But in fact, inside he's a very fragile, sensitive, flawed. I thought of him almost as like a pre-pubescent young girl.
Think of him as a reluctant hero with a mysterious past archetype.
These are strange. These markings, what are they?
I've had them since I can remember.
A mysterious past involving potential witchcraft and definite murder. Oh, and mommy issues. Ichabod definitely has mommy issues.
Nah, just got a minor Oedipal complex.
During his time in Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod discovers that all is not what it seems within the dark hamlet.
Aye. 5 victims in 4 graves.
Picking away at clues and facts until he comes to grips with the fact that the Headless Horseman might just be real and out for revenge.
It was a horseman, a dead one, headless.
And not just that, he learns that even witches are real, with real witchy powers. Powers like making your eyes and tongue go all squiffy. Now, this is probably my only criticism of the movie. The effect is a tad cartoony, but is definitely something that Tim Burton loved doing.
What do you think of this?
That being said, I feel this gag does work better in something like Pee-wee or Beetlejuice, but what can I say? Birds gotta fly, fish gotta swim, and Tim had to make faces go a booga booga booga. Speaking of special effects, Sleepy Hollow makes brilliant use of practical and computer effects in order to bring these dark horrors to life. The horseman, when not topped by Christopher Walken's handsome head, was played by a stuntman wearing a blue ski mask to aid in digital removal. You know, instead of the traditional phony shoulders gag, therefore giving the horseman phenomenal mobility for riding the horse as well as undergoing combat. As for the decapitated heads, casts were made of actors' heads, which were used to then painstakingly recreate by hand the actor's visage in order to deliver a phenomenal practical effect that will pretty much always trump a digital head.
The guys came in from special effects and said, "Oh, have you seen your head yet? It's great, look." And we pulled it out of a box. Well, I talk about intimations of mortality, you know. I've seen my head in somebody's hand.
And the sets!
And cut. Perfect. Print it.
The town of Sleepy Hollow was essentially built from scratch, including the surrounding forest, ensuring that lighting, mood, ambiance, and weather such as fog and wind and snow were 100% creatively controlled.
We're dealing with atmosphere, smoke, fog, which are much easier to control on stage. And just the type of look that we wanted to get in terms of those old-fashioned horror movies where the stage look is part of the fabric of it.
Everything you see elevates the sinister feeling of an encroaching darkness bringing fear and dismay, of a town that lies in the shadow of death and tragedy. Churches are Poe-like in their piety, forests are damned, manors and farmhouses ooze ooze with fear and terror as light and shadow play across actors' faces. Everything lovingly crafted to visually transport you to this dark and doomed land. It's kinda jaw-dropping to think that these outside areas are in fact inside areas. Just really, really big inside areas.
Amazing. It takes over a whole stage. It's mysterious, it's deep, it's up and down hills. All the trees are dead.
The writing is beautifully dark and grim, absolutely dripping in Gothic romanticism.
My mother is in heaven, sir. She has my father now to care for her.
Which in turn makes it kinda melodramatic and cheesy at times.
But perhaps there's a bit of a witch in you, Katrina.
Why do you say that?
Because you've bewitched me.
Which is kinda just a thing that happens easily in Gothic literature, if you aren't careful, that is.
I am pinioned by a chain of reasoning.
But again, that is what this story is meant to be. A dark, melodramatic fairy tale where ghosts rise from their graves, ladies swoon and faint, magic works, and witch faces go booga 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 booga. And honestly, the plot is very worth it. A real mystery with layers and plot and intrigue. Discoveries and dark secrets abound to create a sensational viewing experience for lovers of mystery and macabre stories. Upon its original release, it was mostly favorably received.
This is a surprisingly good movie, a thriller laced with lots of suspense and even more sly humor, as Johnny Depp creates an Ichabod Crane who is just a little bit of a coward when it comes to headless horsemen, as indeed who would not be.
I mean, it pretty much doubled its money, but still some people, even to this day, have some stupid shit to say about it. So let me take a moment here to say, you are wrong, you are wrong, you're wrong, 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 you are wrong, you are very wrong, let's see, wrong, 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 double wrong, and wrongly make wrong face. Ugh. Look, I get it. How you feel about a film is subjective, and these people don't have to like this movie, but they're definitely wrong about it not being good. So do yourself a favor. Go watch Sleepy Hollow if you haven't yet at all. And if you have seen it, well, maybe it's time for a rewatch.
Oh, I'm telling you, brother, it's a frightful sight to see what goes on Halloween night.
As for me, I have been your host, Be Normal. May your days be ever horrifying and your nights forever gloomy. And remember, I will spook you again soon.